Hey VC, how's it going? Right, okay, I hope you've all had a good holiday period. Yeah, it's been great here. My little boy's sick, so you can imagine it's been pretty full on. So I've got a day to myself today. I'm actually working, but yeah, you know, I thought I'd take an hour to myself to make a quick video. So, right, so this is just a few records that I picked up throughout 2022 that I haven't shown in videos previously, mainly because these are records that I've had to spend a bit more time with, you know, so yeah, just taking a little bit more time to get into for whatever reason. But this is, first up, this is what I'm listening to in the background. This is Bobby Hutcherson and Harold Land with the album San Francisco. A beautiful record on Blue Note from 1971. Now the reason why I'm showing this is actually being reissued next month as part of the Blue Note Classic series, and I'd definitely recommend it if this is your sort of thing. Now this is actually the jazz record that got me into jazz. So back in the early 90s, Paul Weller, obviously it all comes back to Paul Weller, doesn't it, you know. Paul Weller toured as a Paul Weller movement. And this was just after the breakup of the Style Council. And a video was released, sort of a video of one of the live gigs. And as part of that set, he included a track called which is the opening track on side 2. Now this song has got a big, groovy bass line. Lovely walking bass lines, I don't know, about 7 minutes long. Just wonderful stuff. It really suited Weller's sound at the time. You know, lots of vibes on there, obviously being a Bobby Hutcherson tune. So, and that got me buying this record. Now, I remember the day I bought this because I went out and I bought it on CD actually to begin with. And I bought it on CD, and on the same day I bought Stevie Wonder's Music of My Mind. So, you know, for me, an incredibly important day of buying records, if there is such a thing. But there you go. So yeah, recommend that if you fancy the reissue. Right, so that tees me up nicely to show some more jazz records. So earlier in the year, I mentioned about a shop in Birmingham which had a large soul, funk and jazz collection in, and I think I'll include some footage as well in one of my videos. Well, a couple of jazz records that I picked up from that collection. First up, John Patton with That Certain Feeling, mid-60s on Blue Note. This is a nice original copy. Yeah, so if you like that sort of 60s Hammond soul jazz sound, you'll love this. You know, it really grooves, it really cooks. It's a lovely record. And I sort of, every now and again, I sort of wholeheartedly throw myself into that sort of Hammond soul jazz sound. And I fall down a bit of a rabbit hole, and that's what's happened here. So I think probably back in September, I must have spent most of the month just listening to that Hammond soul jazz sound. And, you know, this record got played a lot, as did this. This is Lonnie Smith. No, this is Lonnie Smith, Dr. Lonnie Smith with Finger Licking Good, produced by John Hammond for CBS. Now, when it comes to that, I say that soul jazz sound, it doesn't get much better than Dr. Lonnie Smith, but most of the albums that I've got of his are from the 70s. I say this is mid-60s. You know, it features the likes of, I think, George Benson's on here. I know that Lonnie Smith featured on several George Benson records. But yeah, this is a nice original copy. And as I say, played alongside the John Patton. It sounded absolutely great. Soul music. So this is the Winslows with Colour Him Father. Now, if you don't know what this record was, I'd say you'd probably pass on that, because the album cover is just so nondescript. But hidden within this record is probably the most sampled drum break of all time, and that's the Amen Brother break. So the album itself, I imagine it was quite hastily recorded, because there's only one original on here, which is the title track Colour Him Father, which was quite a big hit in the US. I think following the success of that single, the band recorded a full album, which is pretty much made up of cover versions, stuff such as Everyday People, Only the Strong Survive, and you know, nice enough versions, but not a patch on the originals. But the final track on the album is a song called Amen Brother, which is a reworking of a traditional tune. And as I say, it's got I think probably about a 10-second clean drum break, which has been used for everything from drum and bass to dance music to hip hop. And so I'm pretty sure it's the most sampled drum break of all time. But the album itself is okay. It's recently been reissued by Mr. Bongo. But I say this was a nice original find. So actually from that same collection, this is a reissue. This is a reissue on Mr. Bongo. Again, a very famous album cover. This is India by Gal Costa. Gal Costa obviously passed away back in November. If you didn't see it at the time, Mellow Mano 414, Lawrence put up a great video just following her death, just talking about his own Gal Costa collection and just talking about the albums that he likes and just providing recommendations really. So it's really worth looking at if you're interested in that sort of thing. So but yeah, now this album I think divides opinion because it's slightly after that Tropicalia movement, so you don't get the big fuzz tone guitars that you'd associate with that sound. The arrangements are far more lush, but yeah, I still think it's got some quirky arrangements on here. Some of them are quite rhythmic, so you've still got sort of quite frenzied drumming in places. And yeah, I'll do a needle drop on one of the tunes. But this is a Mr. Bongo reissue from I think 2017, and it's absolutely beautiful. Gatefold sleeve. It pretty much replicates the original packaging. If I can open it up. Yeah, so definitely recommend this. So I paid a tenner for this, you know, so it's part of a second-hand collection that got into a local shop, and it's absolutely pristine, so lovely stuff. So next, this is a reggae reissue that came out last month, I think. So this is Devin Russell with his album Darker Than Blue. This is the sleeve that it comes in. I think originally put out in the early 90s, about 93. But it's actually a collection of Curtis Mayfield cover versions that Devin Russell put out, I think between about 1980, 81 through to the early 90s. So, you know, so the tracks are from different sessions, but it plays really well, and there are a couple of killer versions on here. His version of Give Me Your Love, Move On Up, of course, which is the one jumped out, Darker Than Blue, the title track, all absolutely gorgeous. His voice, he's got that falsetto vocal thing going on, really suits the material. So yeah, I'll perhaps play a clip of Move On Up. Just talking about Curtis Mayfield, actually, I picked this up from my local record shop, Music Is The Answer, a month or so ago. A nice 12 by Junior English. 2 Curtis Mayfield covers, You Don't Care and Gypsy Woman. Gypsy Woman, of course, been covered by many Jamaican groups over the years. I know Slim Smith recorded a beautiful version of it, but that's very nice. And also from Music Is The Answer, a nice bit of dub. I bought this around Halloween, actually. It came in the shop. Scientists rids the world of the evil curse of the vampires. And it's that classic Scientist early 80s dub sound. A couple of months prior to that, I picked up Scientist meets the Space Invaders as well. Both of these sleeves, of course, done by Tony McDermott, you know, for the Green Sleeves label. Wonderful stuff. If you like your dub, you'll love those. And finally, I just want to show a little bit of Donald Byrd, because in that collection in my local shop that I picked up the Gal Costa from, there's a little bit of Donald Byrd as well. So first up, Spaces and Places. In a previous video, I showed the UK pressing of this that I picked up probably a couple of years ago. Now this is a first US pressing. Sleeve's got a bit of wear to it, it has, but the vinyl is pristine. That cost me £5. I couldn't believe that. A record that I had been looking for years. Yeah, and there it was in the bins for a £5. I think for about 6 or 7 quid. This was Ethiopian Nights by Donald Byrd, another sort of early 70s soul funk record that he put out, or I suppose jazz funk record. Yeah, again, a record that I've been after for ages. I think a reissue will cost you about 30 or 40 quid. This cost me, I don't know, I think £6 or £7. A little bit of sticker damage, but I can cope with that, you know. And finally, another bit of Donald Byrd that I picked up at the beginning of the year. This is an album called Thank You for Funking Up My Life, late 70s, massively influenced by P-Funk. So if you like your jazz with a hefty dose of funk thrown at it, you'll love this. And this is a real cheapie. I think you get this for less than a tenner wherever you go. So yeah, really nice stuff. So there you go. That's a pile of jazz, reggae, bit of soul. Cool. Cheers.
Tried everything and nothing turned me on. New York, Detroit, LA offered nothing new for me.